Attention shoppers, the new Atari cartridge game is in.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh, George again.
Ooh, Atari's ASC battle.
It comes with 27 games, but that's just for starters. You can get 9 cartridges, 187 games.
Blackjack. Oh!
I'd like an Atari.
Sorry, only our demonstrators left.
Mine!
No, George. Mine.
The new video computer system by Atari. More games, more fun.
Hello. I'm back already. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe it's the heat. But this came out today, and I just had to take a look at it. Had to do this video for my own sake. Yeah, the Atari's dropped. LEGO are making, we knew there was a rumour, we knew it was highly likely because of various sites that said it was going to happen, that it was coming, and would be, under the icons, as you can see, it's back under the icons. I just knew that it was going to be made, and you just knew what it's going to look like, and here it is. The Atari. And I thought, yes, I've got to have a look at this. I've got to talk about the Atari. It is one of a huge conundrum to me of why they've made this set. And it's probably, I've come to some conclusions already that it's probably going to be because other parts of the world, other than all in my perspective of the UK, are probably more interested in this than we are. So first off the bat, the Atari. I think a lot of people in online in Lego and stuff like that are going to be like, "Ooh, we know about the Atari. We can go and look it up, find out what it's all about." They can see that it's a very retro games console now. Find out loads of information about it and what was good about it and what it did and where it come from. But they probably weren't really paying much attention to it until LEGO decided to make it set. Well, especially if you're a LEGO YouTuber or Twitcher or Instagrammer or any of the social media LEGO people, because it's old. This is an old console. This is a really old console. And the worrying thing is, I actually had one right at the beginning. Yes, my dad bought the family an Atari, and it was something completely different because it was a console that you could change the games on. You could buy the games for, and it would play these different games that were, the classic retro style games that you probably imagine when you talk about the lowest, sort of like Pac-Man and stuff like that. And you literally shoved the cartridge in, turned it on, and it loaded up, and it was instantaneous. And this was before I had a Commodore 64 and sort of like its equivalent, the ZX Spectrum, where you used to use tapes and it would take longer, but the tapes were cheaper. So the cartridges were quite expensive. And I think that's always been the case with cartridge-based consoles, that the cartridge has been quite expensive to make. So they've been a bit more pricey than, say, cassettes, floppy disks, CDs, DVDs, whatever they are. Or now it's all digital downloads, so you don't even have to bother actually buying a hard copy now. But yes, I had one, and we had lots of games for it as well. We were quite lucky as children to have access to this. So let's dive in, and I'll talk you through some of the things that I know about the Atari, and we'll see what we think to it. So yeah, straight off the bat, £209.99, coming on August the 1st, and it is 2,532 pieces. So 2,500 pieces, £210, no minifigures. Yeah, it's not bad pricing. It is expensive if it's something you're into. If you're into your retro consoles and Lego and you do want to have something like this on your shelf to display, then yeah, I kind of get it. There's a couple of little features I've seen that come with it that make it really interesting. It's definitely a difficult one to pitch in a market though, because right off the bat, there's no way I'm getting this. And as I've just explained to you, we had one. I even remember this controller. And I'll tell you some interesting things about this controller. Well, not really interesting, geeky things. Probably one thing that's interesting, if not. But look at this thing. It's a black box with a wooden veneer. And it was like a wooden with like almost like a felty type soft touch substance, this bit on the where the indents are. And it was a big old thing. And it was designed, if we go full screen, it was designed to look good in your living room in the late 70s, early 80s, where everything was like the inside of an old Jaguar, where everything had like a wooden veneer or a Rolls Royce, whatever you know, that even I would think the Austin Allegros of the time had wooden veneers. Everywhere had wooden print and stuff. So we had a TV cabinet, and the TV, you pull down the flap on the front of the TV cabinet, it would hide the TV and make it look like a chest of drawers, because that was the in thing to do, like drinks cabinets that were hidden inside a globe. Everything was wooden and brown in the late 70s, early 80s. The wallpaper, the carpets, the furniture, this thing fit right at home. This was the thing to stand out. The only thing that made it look different was the fact that it had video computer system written on it, which, again, because it was such a big old chunky thing, you wouldn't have really noticed so much because it was just in the sea of brown. We even had VHS videos. We used to put the actual VHS videos, the blank ones, and if you actually did buy any of the films, inside a red or brown or green or blue case cover that made it look like a book. So it didn't look like you had a load of videos, because it wasn't kind of the done thing. You didn't look at your room, had to look like it was a living room from before technology arrived. That was the fashion. So they built this Atari thing exactly the same way so that it wouldn't stand out. This is what's scary about this. It's a black box with a wooden veneer. It's even got the brown and black colouring on it. So as a replication, yeah, I don't even know if that's the right word. A replica of the original in Lego form. Wow. Yes, they've nailed it. They've definitely nailed that joystick. The cartridges, well, they're just standard black cartridges, but they've put some nice like stickers on by the look of it, I would think, unless they are prints. But yeah, this controller was the bane of my life. That connection there that went in there also used to fit inside the Commodore 64. So when I broke my high-end Commodore 64 controls playing like Daley Thompson's Decathlon by wiggling it from side to side to make him run, I used to go and borrow the Atari ones because they were like, I don't know, made of cast iron. So they were that stiff they didn't break. But you could plug them in the back of Commodore 64. I don't know if you could plug them in a Spectrum, because I never had a Spectrum, but they definitely had the same connector. You obviously had the fact that you could, if your TV had black and white, you could switch it to black and white. Again, just goes to show a sign of the times, because a lot of people had black and white tellies when they had this console. Resetting the game was funny. If it crashed, she just pulled down the lever and it would load again from the screen. And on and off, and then obviously game select. It was basically, that was the eject button, if I remember rightly, that lifted the cartridge out. So you pulled down the button and the cartridge flew out. I don't know if this is going to do that, but that's basically the buttons that you had on the back. I can't even remember if it was like a red, white, and yellow cable into the TV. It's that long ago. So let's have a see what else they've got on here. Just a better image of this. Obviously, they've added in this slide up feature so you can see somebody playing the game. That probably looks like me. I don't think we'd have had the posters on the wall. I don't think they've recreated that properly. Certainly would have had the brown furniture, and again the ghetto blaster. Yeah, not so much common in most of the houses that of my friends that had one or that we had one, because we had one of those big hi-fi systems again that would hide away. It was all veneered up, so the speakers were all wooden veneered up, and it had a front case on it, so when you shut it you didn't know it was a record player and a tape deck. That was the way it was. So this thing wasn't revolutionary in design. It was definitely a sign of the times. I'm showing you the cartridges going in, another view angle of it there. these 3 different sort of versions that you get from the classic games. Centipede was awful. I mean, it's a bit like Snake in it that we used to have on our Nokias. Asteroids was pretty cool, but it was really, really basic. It certainly wasn't as colourful as that scene. I don't think I ever played Adventure. I had Space Invaders. I'm sure we had Pac-Man. We had a combat game where you could play as tanks and had bouncing balls. It was a bit like a more advanced version of Pong, but this didn't have Pong. Pong was a machine on its own. This was a revolutionary machine, as in that you could change the games. What's on the back of the box? Anything interesting here? Look how basic that was. So this is pre Commodore 64 ZX Spectrum. This is pre buying tapes and loading tapes. So we kind of took a step back where we went from a better quality of a computer that could play games, because obviously you could use a Commodore 64 to do other things than just games on. With slow load times from a cassette, but the cassettes were cheaper. They were really easy to buy the games. We went back from cartridges, then we sort of came back to cartridges again when the NES came out, and they moved more towards cartridges again. Let's have a look at these lifestyles. These are going to make me laugh. I'm not sure he's old enough to remember it, to be fair, looking at him. Don't think the grey hairs, there's enough grey hair there. There it is on display. It looks reasonably good, but again, I don't quite get the display aspect of it, because it weren't that good to look at when it was originally made. It was designed to fit in. And look, they've done the brown furniture and everything to fit it all in with, which I'm really surprised if people have got brown walls. If you have, fair play to you, but I know that majority of people like to have a bit of a brighter of a colour now, and it's more trendy, or the last few years, to have sort of an off-white colour than it is to have a brown. It's definitely interesting. I don't know what the video is for. It's probably just going to walk you around it. So I'm not really interested in that. This one was another one of them of it spinning around jobbies. Get the nice little cartridge case, which I don't remember having or needing, because them cartridge cases could have been dropped and survived a nuclear bomb, from what I remember. They were just big, thick pieces of plastic. So yeah, it's a bit of a delve back into nostalgia, but I have no desire. And surely this is marketed at people who had an Atari and who are Lego fans, as well as people who are not Lego fans. Surely they want that nostalgia hit. I don't even think it's a good pack, because it's a lot of black tiles and a bit of brown, and yeah, I'm looking at the techniques that didn't look anything revolutionary. Like the NES was a little bit more interesting, I think. And I never bought the NES, even though I had a NES. It was the first console that was actually mine that I saved up for with my paper round money and bought, and I wasn't interested in buying a Lego version of it. I'd rather have the original NES. There's nothing here that stands out. You know, I know the typewriter came out recently, and maybe they've used some of the ideas that they used on that build. But changing the scenes is nice. I just think, why not do the Mega Drive or the Master System after the NES? I'm surely they're going to be more home runs than this. You know, all I can think of is that, and I hope there's people watching this video who know this fact, but was it more popular in sort of Europe more than UK? You know, was it like Germany, France, Spain? Is there people of my generation that was a little bit more popular? I don't know. Was it huge in Asia? Is that one of the reasons why they're going for a market that's, you know, the big in Asia that's of that age that remembers an Atari and wants a Lego display piece? Possibly. Yeah. I'm not saying that for me, I can't work it out, because there's literally, it's the ugliest console box ever. There's no way I'd want to be reminded of it. And the games were terrible. They were basic, boring, and you played them for about 5 minutes and you were able to change them. Whereas at least when the insert the Commodore and the Spectrum, because you invested in waiting so long for them to load, you gave them a little bit more time. But I think the most we played was Space Invaders 2 players, but it's Space Invaders, isn't it? It gets boring. Centipede was boring. Asteroids, classic. Don't get me wrong. But they're not iconic in sort of gameplay. They're iconic in nostalgia hit, and obviously that's maybe what they're just going for. But yeah, having owned one and seen a couple of people put some thoughts up, I thought it might be worth me doing a video and sharing it. You might disagree with everything I say. If you do, that's fine. Comment below. Ask me any questions if I've forgotten to say any of my memories of owning and playing an Atari, and there's quite a lot of those memories that I've blocked out, to be honest, because I remember the Commodore 64 and the NES more fondly than the Atari, with its wooden fronted black box and hideous orange colour, and them awful joysticks. So that's it. That's what I have to say on it. Like I say, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Please, if you liked what I've done, give us a like up. I don't often do these because I talk about them on other streams, but with this one being a little bit more close to home, I thought I had to. And if you've got anything you want to ask or add or disagree with me, because the whole point is get a discussion going, put it in the comments. I always try and reply to all the comments. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Hope it was a different take on some of the other stuff you're hearing, but it's a definite pass from Brickstage Pass. Not getting this. I'm going to save my £210. Thank you very much, LEGO, for saving me some more money in these difficult times. Bye.